All right. Good evening, everyone. The time is now 7:01 p.m., and today's date is August 17th, and we are here for our regularly scheduled Town Council meeting. Before we begin this evening's meeting, Councilor Durkin and I would like to take a moment to recognize the passing of three individuals whose lives were deeply connected in Narragansett and the greater South County community. Stephen Farley was a longtime Narragansett resident, devoted father, coach, friend, and familiar face throughout our community. Known to so many simply as Coach, Stephen gave countless hours to our young people through athletics, booster clubs, and community involvement. His love for Narragansett, its people, and its traditions was evident throughout his life, and he will be deeply missed. We also remember Dennis Hazard, a lifelong Narragansett and South County resident, proud U.S. Marine Corps veteran who served our country in Vietnam, and a man with deep roots in our community. Dennis was a familiar presence along our coastline and a longtime member of the Narragansett Surfcasters Club. His service to our country and his lifelong connection to Narragansett leave a legacy worthy of our gratitude and respect. And I'll pass it off to Jim Durkin before I close on the final sentiments.
And Javi Cataldo. Javi Cataldo was 68, married for 37 years to the head singer of his band, The Thieves. I remember being stopped at a light at Burnside Avenue and Route 108. I looked over, I saw a squirrel on the driver's shoulder. Our relationship got stronger at that moment. He spent many years on the Harbor Commission and created one of the first oyster farms we have in Narragansett. He helped many people with their political ambitions. He will be greatly missed by his family and the people of Point Judith and all who knew him.
On behalf of the Narragansett Town Council and our entire community, we extend our deepest condolences to the Farley, Stone, Cataldo, and Hazard families, for their friends, and all those who knew and loved Stephen, Dennis, and Harvey. I ask everyone to please join us in a moment of silence as we honor their lives, their service, and their contributions to our community. Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first item on our agenda is the town manager's update, so I'll pass it off to Jim.
Good evening, members of the council, folks who are here this evening, and those who are watching from home. A few updates for the week. An update on the comprehensive plan. We're asking that any residents contact Community Development Director Jill Sabo if they are interested in becoming a stakeholder for the housing and land use elements of the comprehensive plan update process. Contact information can be found on the town website under Community Development. The State Traffic Commission informed us that the crosswalk that we have been pursuing on Boston Neck Road near Dominic Cristoforo Park was approved, and they notified us. They have no timeline for it, but they have approved the crosswalk that we had requested several times. DPW was awarded a certificate of special recognition for their successes during the 2026 National Public Works Week. Congratulations to all of the great team at DPW and to our Director, Steve Dano, and Deputy Director, Darren McConnell, who lead by example. The Rhode Island Drought Steering Committee will be holding a meeting tomorrow, 8/18, in Providence, and they'll be streaming it on Zoom at 10:30 in the morning. It's not a good picture that they're going to paint. The flyer advertising the meeting is posted on the table as you enter the council chambers. And along with that, Veolia released a statement. Mr. Jacobs from Veolia Water stated they were still not in good shape moving into this summer. They saw a bump, but groundwater recovery was short-lived. wells in the Mink Brook Aquifer near Warden Pond that supplies drinking water to much of Narragansett and South Kingstown are 49% below historical averages. Veolia issued an outdoor water ban beginning in June 30th. People who rely on wells for their water are already seeing an impact from long-term drought effects. Westerly temporarily banned all outdoor water use before scaling it back to a partial prohibition. The region will need several months of above-normal rain to fully recover. The Narrow River dredging permit. The town is waiting to hear back from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service following a meeting that we had with them on August 4th. I've kept Senator Reed's office in the loop by providing all the updates and the current status as late as today. The bike path. The Town Council has an agenda item tonight to approve Deprete Engineering to commence the design engineering of the TC-approved route, and we have confirmed with RIDOT that the $3 million remains in the STIP budget for construction only, not for engineering. A couple of events just to let you know about. The South County Museum will be holding music at the museum, which will take place this Wednesday from 5 to 8 p.m. They said bring your own chair or blanket. Food and beverage will be available for sale, and tickets are $15. It benefits the South County Museum. The Parks and Recreation Department is hosting a Rhode Island 250 float parade on Saturday, August 22nd from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We currently do not have anyone registered as a participant, but we'd ask you to reach out to Parks and Recreation if you'd be interested in doing that. You will hear a lot this evening about the Scarborough wastewater treatment plant. The plant continues to operate efficiently and optimally. I'd like to recognize the efforts of all the staff that have been working at the facility and monitoring and adjusting the processes as needed to operate so efficiently. I'll provide you with the most recent updates of what has been done at the plant. Wastewater staff met with the wastewater treatment consultant throughout the winter and summer to evaluate the recent and prior plant performance and conditions and coordinate corrective action to achieve satisfactory summer treatment. The plant maintained full compliance with all discharge permit requirements from November of '25 through July of '26 and continues to operate at high efficiency. One sludge transfer pump has been rebuilt and was returned to service in July. 2 remaining pumps are being replaced, with the first replacement pump startup scheduled for the last week of August. A new belt for the gravity belt thickening was purchased, installed, and placed into service in May, providing substantial improvement in the dewatering process and the overall solids handling performance. We seeded the oxidation ditch where the waste sits with the bionutrient enhancement products prior to the start of the summer, per the wastewater consultant's recommendations to promote desired biomass microbes and improve biological process performance. Staff coordinated with our SCADA integrator, which is the computer to implement process programming modifications to improve control adaptability, and evaluated equipment operation and process responses under various control settings throughout the spring to optimize treatment performance. Summer target levels for the concentration, dissolved oxygen, sludge wasting rates were developed with the wastewater consultant based on the data and prior plant performance. Summer target levels were implemented in June and have been maintained throughout the summer. Staff continue on-site monitoring and analysis for oxidation and reduction potential and ammonia to monitor plant conditions, measure process efficiency, and inform daily decisions on treatment equipment operation and control setting adjustments as necessary to maintain peak treatment efficiency based on the current process. Treatment plant performance reported for July 25 was 76.4% removal of biochemical oxygen demand. It is now up to approximately 98.2%, which is optimal. Rhode Island DEM personnel performed an unscheduled plant inspection just on August 10th and walked the entire perimeter fence to check for odors prior to assessing the site. After inspecting the plant grounds and process units, they advised that no odors were observed migrating anywhere off the site, and that only normal process odors in the immediate vicinity of the treatment units were observed on the site. Overall, Rhode Island DEM personnel were extremely satisfied with the current conditions and the vast improvement over the last year. The operating conditions and process control decisions that resulted in the poor performance and excessive odors during the recent summers, most notably in 2025, have been corrected through the dedicated effort of our wastewater staff with the assistance of our wastewater consultant and SCADA control system integrator. The necessary corrections have been incorporated into the standard operating procedures for the plant, and we are confident that satisfactory performance will be maintained moving forward. And again, I would like to take the time to thank the staff who worked so diligently over the last year to try to correct this. And that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jim, and to our staff. You know, the reason why there was so many updates there was because there was so many incredible work going on the town side, so really appreciate all of our staff, our leadership for their hard work. And I hope you were able to have some, or enjoy some time off somewhere in between all those updates. It was well deserved. And the other thing I want to give a shout out to is our firefighters, our police officers, DEM, first responders, to the untimely and unfortunate spill of the calamari. I think it was just yesterday, actually. So if anyone, when they get up to speak, has any good calamari puns, they're certainly welcome. But thank you for the hard work, and I know that was a really smelly situation to overcome, so really appreciate all the efforts that were put in there to clean it up. Also going to second the shout out to the event going on at the South County Museum this Wednesday, August 19th from 5 to 8 p.m. You'll be able to pack a lawn chair, bring a picnic, enjoy live music from Road to Bali, Bee and the Boys in the beautiful setting of the South County Museum. If you can't make it to the concert, consider visiting the museum another day, making a donation, or simply sharing this event with others. Every bit of support helps preserve the special place for future generations. And really, if you can make it to this incredible picnic fundraiser, it sounds like it's going to be a really amazing event, and it's to support this incredible service that is provided for this town and our community. So if you're able to make it, please check it out. Does anyone else have any questions? I know I just dove right into council updates, but any questions for Jim or any additional updates? All right, thank you. So we'll move on to the approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the August 3rd, 2026 regular meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. On to open forum. The comments of citizens addressing the council are neither adopted nor endorsed by the body, but heard as requested. Public comment will not be taken on matters involving open litigation. Please state your name and address when you get up to speak. Speak only on topics not on the meeting agenda. I think that was written twice. 3-minute limit per speaker, and please be orderly and respectful.
The first speaker is Tom Callahan.
Good evening, President Menzies, members of the council. Several important questions remain unanswered in the wake of...
Oh, sorry, Mr. Callahan, sorry. Just state your name and address.
I'm sorry. Tom Callahan, 26 Baltimore Avenue.
Thank you.
Remain unanswered in the wake of former Assistant Solicitor Craven's victim-blaming resignation letter. They require answers, and they require answers from you. Here are just a few. Who were the two town councilors who discussed this matter with Mr. Craven? Did it occur during an active investigation? For what purpose? Who initiated the contact? Was that consistent with standard investigatory protocol? In the interest of fairness to these two councilors, whoever they may be, or in fact any councilor, similarly contact Ms. Szabo. These are just a few of the questions that are on the minds of residents. If Mr. Craven has resigned, he would do well to inform the court of that fact. For many of the cases, he presently is listed in representing Narragansett, and to do that soon. As of this morning, that had not occurred. But tonight I'm going to use this time to focus on just one matter. The town's workplace violence policy is found on page 20 of the town's Policies and Procedures Manual. It states explicitly that we do not tolerate any type of workplace violence committed against employees. It then identifies the reporting requirements and the investigation procedures. Finally, it says if it is determined that inappropriate conduct has occurred, the town will take appropriate action. Mr. Regasta was the attorney tasked by the town manager to conduct the investigation and make that determination. He invoiced the town just over $35,000 for 157 hours of work at $225 an hour for the months of March, April, May, June, and July. While the specific matters billed for are redacted, it's fair to assume that an investigation of this type and length would account for most, if not all, of Mr. Regasta's time during this period. The investigation is now complete. One very simple but fundamentally important question remains. Did Mr. Regasta's investigation determine that Mr. Craven's conduct towards Ms. Szabo on the evening of March 17th violate Narragansett's workplace violence policy? Yes or no?
This is your time. We're not engaging in a back and forth conversation.
Okay, I'm going to wait for an answer for a few seconds longer with my time.
Okay.
Now, this is an educated guess. The answer is yes. Otherwise, Mr. Craven would be sitting where Mr. Levesque is sitting this evening. Last week, Mr. Callahan cited the sensitivity of the matter in the law as the reason why it protects the town employee from further disclosure. In this instance, it's done nothing to protect Ms. Szabo, but it's effectively shielded Mr. Craven thus far from any accountability for his actions.
Thank you.
Mark Brady.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Can you folks hear me? Yes. Mark Brady, Fernleaf Trail. I have a couple of questions. Why on August 3rd was Mr. Callahan repeatedly silenced by the chair when he had relevant questions on this situation? He was repeatedly spoken over and, quote, ongoing investigation. When the town attorney had just prior to that said that the investigation was completed on June 18th and presented to the council on the 23rd. There was, in fact, no ongoing investigation. It was a silencing move. Why did it take this council almost 2 months to finalize any kind of actions, even no action, when anybody who watched this video, the whole video, not Channel 12 sanitized version, clearly sees Attorney Craven about to leave through those back doors? Ms. Szabo is clearly distraught, sitting down in a chair with her hands in her face. Mr. Craven turns, sees her, and in her state, and returns to what appears to be a very aggressively to the point where Ms. Szabo pushes her chair away, clearly in a defensive mood. How did it take 2 months and not 2 days? Is it possible that coinciding legislation, which could possibly aid a number of people financially in this room, working through with Mr. Craven's name on it, and that was not to be jeopardized or certainly not embarrassed? How could this council allow Mr. Craven to dictate the terms of this process? This was not a resignation by any stretch of the measure. He dictated the terms. How could this letter be seriously seen by any reasonable person as a resignation when he clearly states that he will allow his stipends, $25,000, to be paid to Attorney Levesque, and that he will stay on as a consultant and his law partner will stay on as the zoning board and assistant solicitor? So what, we're now paying 3 attorneys? Okay, has Mr. Craven been removed from any and all cases that he was assigned by this town, or is he still representing this town in legal matters? Mr. Craven refers to the conversation with 2 members of this council. When was those conversations taking place? Why were they taken during an investigation in this type of a situation? Who were they?
the counselors, and what was the discussion? Why did it go on? Have at any time any one of the accusations against Mr. Craven been found to be unsubstantiated? Have at any time, have any one of you gone to Ms. Sabo and asked her how she is doing? Because the Townsend letter says to Mr. Craven, I hope you are doing well. Have you ever asked her how she is doing? Mr. Craven said that his actions were not to create a political distraction, seemingly directed towards this council. Who did Mr. Craven work for? The town or the council? With
Thank
me?
you.
All right. My next question can wait. Thank you.
Dr. Al Alba.
Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace. So, Mr. Durkin served previously as a councilman, and at that time when he was serving, the Coastal Resource Management cited him for illegal dumping. Tony Santilli, he was charged $500 for violations. He appealed it, of course. He's going to play the blame game for CRMC, but he was doing something which was totally inappropriate. Time warp. So he was basically in violation of CRMC, and they were very upset with him. Then we had Mr. Durkin in 2015 challenging David Gravino's Iggy's. And his lawyers were Patrick Dougherty and Donald Lally. Patrick Dougherty was up here calling people on my pages minions. Well, he has his henchmen. You have your henchmen, Mr. Durkin. And anytime people don't see it your way, you'll take your lawyers and you'll serve someone like me for a notice of no trespassing on all your paperwork. Now, how about if I went to the state police and filed paperwork for you for what you did to me on the outside or for what your son told to me? That would be more credible than your frivolous statements about me trespassing or putting these trespassing on all your properties. Are you going to get your lawyers after me again? So in this document here, the legal brief, I'm going to be serving this with all of you so you all can read it. It says that my cousin was working to the letter of the law, but you cost my cousin tens of thousands of dollars in delays. Why? Because you probably, most likely, as you said, maybe I want to be part of his business, but because he denied it, you wanted to retaliate. Then we have a police report, just cited last year, 9/20. Let's give Patrolman Carlino excellent credit and Sergeant Bassett for raiding the house which you were controlling, okay, you were managing for violation. There were 8 people, 8 students in there. Only 5 were supposed to be in there. Sure, it was an 8-bedroom, but when they went there because there was a ruckus, when there was a party, they said, you're being violated. So the owner was cited for $500 or whatever it might be for having too many people. How many other properties we have in Narragansett where people have 8, 10 people? If there wasn't a party in there, they would have got away with it. So, Mr. Durkin, how many properties do you have where you have people in over excess? Because last year when I did 87 Narragansett Avenue, it looked like there was about 27 based on what the ladies told me. And I tell you, some of them, and you had 3 bedrooms in there, which is in violation of our town. There's no disputing that. It wasn't trespassing. Okay? Oh, you just sold the property. I just saw that. It was under contract. Are you going to say you want to manage the same property and allow 8 people? Are you going to tell the owner because he paid $1,450,000, he got to have 8 people? And then we have the building permit for 87 Narragansett. Okay? I want to see the documentation for all of the efficiency downstairs and all the bedrooms. And here is the notices of trespassing. I'm going to put all this paperwork for all of you to review.
Thank you, Dr. Alba.
And for the fire chief and every one of the town council to review.
Thank you.
Vicky Board.
Hello.
Hello.
Vicky Baud, 155 Winterberry Road. I'll wait until you're looking at me, Alex, because this is directed at you. Once again, it's been 6 weeks, and here I am waiting for an answer from you about the Affordable Housing Collaborative Trust and the expired board member. So that board member expired July 2nd. Not that that collaborative trust has met more than 3 times in the year, but I do believe that they are the ones that are going to do something with that $3 million bond. So what does it take to get an answer from you? What do I have to do now to get an answer on what you're doing about that board and who you're going to appoint to it? There are people that are waiting that can possibly do the town a lot of benefit, but yet it's just in flux. So tell me, what do I need to do now to get the answer? Anything that you can give me?
You don't need to do anything. It's just hasn't made its way on the agenda.
But he expired
You
already.
have my assurance it will be on the next meeting.
I'll be there. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all that's signed up for it. You'll have to go to the audience now.
Anyone else who wishes to speak for open forum who hasn't signed up? Yes.
Hi, Heidi Patron, 34 Palm Beach Ave. I attended a portion of the August 3rd Town Council meeting. The facts show that Mr. Colonies, Mr. Menzies, and Mr. Durkin and Ms. Vignali saw the video, the security footage, on June 23rd. The footage showed a heated discussion between Mr. Craven and a town hall employee. The security footage also shows Mr. Craven having his hand on that doorknob at the other end of the room, consciously taking his hand off of the door, walking all the way back to approximately where Mr. Levesque is sitting, and continued his discussion, if you will call it that. What the video footage also shows a member of the public having to come in and getting in between Mr. Craven and the town hall employee so she can leave the room. The video security footage also shows a member of the public having to get in between Mr. Craven and the town hall employee, again, Mr. Menzies, so she can leave the room. Mr. Menzies, Mr. Durkin, Ms. Vignali, and Mr. Colonies, who is not here, saw that video. Mr. Menzies, you went home to your mother. Mr. Durkin, you went home to your daughter. Ms. Vignali, you went home to your granddaughters. And Mr. Colonies went home to his wife, knowing you did nothing to protect a town hall employee. Nothing. What have you done since then to ensure that one of your employees will not do again or behave again in the way that Mr. Craven has behaved? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Ms. Lawler.
Jill Lawler, Sarasota Avenue. I don't know how I can even begin to compete with what Heidi just did, a town employee. But I do want to start by saying my apologies to Ms. Sabo, who's in this room, who needs to listen repeatedly about being a victim in this town hall without this town council doing anything. On March 17th, the actions that you've already heard before happened in this council room, right here. A town employee was accosted by a town solicitor. I APRA'd the full video. Heidi, I can't even compare what I'm about to say, but in the full video, the part that Channel 12 didn't show, Attorney Craven started walking out. He recognized Ms. Sabo was in tears and about ready to collapse. He jerked his head around in a manner and just started charging back. He ran back at her, fist out at her face, and yelling at her. Had it not been for Mike DeLuca coming in, God knows what could have happened. March 18th, she filed a complaint, and duly so. Mr. Tierney advised the council on the 6th of April of the occurrence and that there was an investigation taking place. I know this is not a question and answer period, but did any of you ask Mr. Tierney to see the video? Did anybody ask what really went on? On June 18th, you were told that the investigation was completed, and on June 23rd, Attorney Regasta met with you in executive session, where you agreed to reconvene at a later date because Ryan was not there. How dare you? How dare you watch the video I saw and not have a consensus among 4 of you to say, we've had enough. Rhode Island is an at-will state. You did not need to do anything more than to tell Attorney Craven that he no longer works for the town. You don't need to worry about being sued. You need to give no reason. But yet you chose not to act, to leave Jill Sabo out cold. I just wonder what the town employees feel right now. From Mr. Tierney all the way down to the town employee working at the town beach who had the fewest hours. Obviously, you do not have their backs. You had the back of a political operative from the State House. You had Mr. Craven's back. So last I would like to say, since, Alex, you like to talk about transparency, every single meeting we hear transparency, I don't know how many times. Be transparent tonight. Ask that Dan play the full video. Let the town of Narragansett see what the 4 of you and the 5th of you, Mr. Colonies, all saw, but yet chose to do nothing. You left Jill Sangbo hanging. Shame on all of you.
Thank you. Anyone else for open forum? All right.
Mr. President,
Yes.
could I please chime in?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Also, in the interest of transparency, and after consulting with Labor Council today, I can inform the public what they already know, that independent Labor Council conducted a thorough investigation, and an outcome letter of that investigation was given to the employee who made the allegations. The outcome letter is property of that employee, who can choose to do what they wish. In sum and substance, the investigation validated and substantiated the complaint that was made by the employee. The details are contained in that letter to the employee. We are not free to release that to the public, but it was investigated, and Labor Council found it to be validated and substantiated. I did speak with Labor Council today before announcing this. Thank you.
Thank you. And to respond again to the many concerns that were shared this evening, again, the timeline and the order in which the investigation was dealt was shared at, I don't know if it was the last meeting or the meeting before that. Again, the uniqueness of the situation where the town solicitor is hired by the town council and there's a member of the town staff who has filed a complaint. So there were 2 different parties involved, and there had to be an entire process undertaken involving a human resources department, and we had to let the investigation continue. And you're right, when on June 23rd, we did receive the first video, and we did review it at that time. There was also hundreds of pages of testimony that we had to review at that time as well. We were not able to complete the review of the hundreds of pages of testimony as well. And it was also true that Mr. Torialde was not present at that time as well. It was recommended to us that all council members be briefed on the investigation before a determination was made. At the time in which all council members did review all of the materials from the investigation, that is when a determination was made. There was no delays. I understand the frustrations. This council wanted to act in a very swift manner, as hard as that is to believe for some of you. But the video was not readily available at March or April 6th when we were first notified. We were not, and this was just a very brief introduction of the fact that the complaint was made. And then it was a few months for the investigation to occur, where many of the witnesses were interviewed. And again, all of these findings in the timeline, which some of those dates were shared this evening, as well as the last meeting, can be reviewed on YouTube as well. But again, my sincere apologies, Ms. Sabo, for the ongoing complaints that continue to be brought up before this council. I don't think it's right, and I understand it's deserving from this end, but I do want to be mindful that there's more than one party involved with investigations like this. So I do apologize and hope that we can move forward as a town and work together to figure out how to prevent something like this from happening again. And then we will be moving on to consent agenda. Is there a motion to Approve consent agenda items C1 and C2.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I'm sorry, did somebody move? Sorry, who moved it? Sorry. Vignali, seconded by Councilor Torialde. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Durkin?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. On to Town Council business is item D1. Is there a motion to discuss and review the ongoing progress and measurable improvements at the town's wastewater treatment facilities?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Durkin. Discussion. So this is an item, I believe, introduced by Councilors Vignali and Durkin, or just Councilor Vignali?
Nope.
So you want to take it from here?
Yeah, thank you. We're going to do a presentation on the Narragansett wastewater treatment facility that we would like to just explain to the council what we have been doing as a subcommittee, and we're going to do it from the floor. Can I just turn this a little bit? That work? Thank you. Okay, we just put together a presentation. As you guys know, we put together a subcommittee. The council decided to put together a subcommittee, naming Jim and I as members of that subcommittee, and we've had the opportunity in the last, I think it's just about a year now, that we've been working and meeting with the staff and the town manager and the engineer and the consultant, and we've had several meetings with them, and we have accumulated data, we have been reading reports, analyzing data, and have to say that, you know, what this staff and what the engineer and the manager of the plant have done is just incredible, and I think Mr. Tierney explained a lot of that in his opening remarks for his update. We're probably going to repeat some of those same things because I think it's important that everybody knows what an amazing job that they've been doing. So what we want to do is to currently, you know, tell you what's happening and what we've been able to find. So, you want to click this?
You get started. That's going to start it. All right.
Do I just click it?
To the right. The arrow to the right.
We got to turn it on the side. You know how hard it is, what, you can't see with your glasses. And you can't see. What am I clicking at?
You want to move it. It's not moving, Dan.
Not working. You want to just switch to?
Page 1, change it to 2.
There we go. Thank you. Okay, so just some of the things that it's important for you to for people to know. Narragansett relies on 2 wastewater treatment facilities, the Scarborough and the Westmoreland. And the primary focus today is going to be discussion about the wastewater treatment plant facility at the Scarborough. Some data may include or be relevant to the Westmore facility, and we do plan on doing something similar for the Westmoreland facility in later September, probably early October. So that, but a lot of this is going to correlate. What we're going to find today is going to correlate with some of the things that are happening at the Westmoreland also. Things to take away today, what we're going to cover. We're going to cover that much of the wastewater flow volume is driven by infiltration and inflow and not seasonal tourism. Despite the volume created by the infiltration and inflow, there's considerable capacity at Scarborough Beach facility. We have technical procedures have been implemented to help processing high volumes, but the infiltration and inflow needs to be dealt with strategically. And that's something we're going to talk about today. We're going to show you the things that we've done or that the town has done, and that we've just been part of, helping them and understanding what they're doing, what the town has been able to do, and the next step strategies. The process for deciding strategic solutions is going to be something that's going to have to include the whole town. Okay, so just a little bit of a quick education. So this is Narragansett, and the north end and the central area is serviced by the Westmoreland facility. So the Westmoreland facility, regional facility, is located at 275 Westmoreland Street in Narragansett. It's a regional partnership, and the agreement dates, an agreement was set in 1972 with South Kingstown, URI, and Narragansett. It is operated fully by South Kingstown. They maintain it and they operate the plant. It is physically located in Narragansett, however, they oversee the plant. Capacity was allocated between South Kingstown, URI, and Narragansett based on the original investment in the facility. So when the facility was built, everyone put a investment part in, and they bought certain capacities. It was divided up by how much you put into it and how much capacity you got. We were given 1.4 million gallons, and right now we have 1.4, I'm sorry. But when we first bought into it, it was 1.2, and we're currently leasing from URI 0.2 million gallons per day. So we are doing that in a lease, in a long-standing agreement with URI. And like I said, we're going to talk about that when we talk about the Westmoreland facility in September, late September or October. We'll spend more time on that. But for today, we're going to talk about the Scarborough. It's 99 Ocean Road. It was originally constructed in 1983. It's run by the town of Narragansett. We oversee that, and we actually run that plant. And it only services the south end, including Galilee. And we have 1.4 million gallons permitted on the average monthly flow. So that's just a little back history on how it works here in Narragansett. Scarborough Wastewater Treatment Facility reinitiated investment and improvement reliability. The council reinitiated investment in equipment, and together with the town manager, the town engineer, strengthened oversight and management of the facility to better ensure operating reliability. So together, along with the great staff, we've been able to make critical investment. We made the critical investment of $337,000. It was a contract that we approved, this council approved, to replace the sludge transfer pumps and the controllers. And as Jim said, the installation of both replacement pumps and variable frequency drive motor controls is underway. And the first replacement pump startup is scheduled to take place in the last week of August. And the second pump demolition and replacement installation is going to follow after that. So the equipment is here. The contract went out. The equipment is here at the facility, and they are currently working on it. And that was a decision made, a vote that was taken by this council to approve the money with the consultant and the staff making the recommendation that this is what we really needed to do. A focus subcommittee was established, as you know, and to strengthen the accountability and maintain attention on the Scarborough Wastewater Treatment Facility. A consultant was hired, and the facility operating data was analyzed to implement process changes. So they took the consultant suggested and looked through all the data, and they were able to have the town change from a reactive to a proactive. Now when they look at the data, they can kind of see what's going to happen and predict the outcomes based on rain, based on the season, and now they're taking a much more proactive approach. All right, and just to go into just really quickly, I just want to talk about infiltration and inflow and rain and groundwater increases in the sewer flow volumes. Inflow either enters quickly through direct connections, infiltration leaks in through the sewer system, and defects from underground, when underground water is high. So the rain is coming down, that's inflow, and the water is coming up. We have a high water table, and and the water is coming up from the groundwater. And those are the two things that we're dealing with. And that's seasonal. It's also rain events. So stormwater enters through the sanitary sewer during or immediately after rain. And we're going to be able to show data that's going to that will definitely correlate with what we're saying and show that what we're saying here is actually what's happening with the rain events and the underground water. Illegal sump pumps is a huge problem. Not only is the rainwater coming in, but there's some residents who are pumping out of their basements, and that's going in to the ground, and that's going into the pipes. Downspouts and foundation drains are going into the water, and laterals underground carrying water during a rainstorm is a problem going into the sewer system. Infiltration, on the other hand, is coming up. It's coming up into the pipes, cracked pipes, defective joints, and it's deteriorated surfaces of the laterals in the structures. Groundwater intrusion was observed at the Galilee station. So just so you know, all this data has come from the Wright and Pierce report, which was done in 2025. We spent a lot of time going through that report and taking the data from there. Pump stations and treatment plants receive water in the flow. That is not sewage. So you have sewage, you have the rainwater, and you have the underground water, all adding to what's happening in the wastewater treatment plant. Unless proactively treated, this extra volume of water reduces operating reliability. And so, you know, it was really hard for me to understand this whole thing, and an analogy was made that it's kind of like baking a cake. So you have a cake, and you're going to bake a cake, and if you have all the ingredients right, and everything is good, the cake is going to come out perfectly. But what happens if you put too much water or too many eggs or too much of something else into it, and you put that same cake into the oven, you're going to have a disaster. And so I think what happens is the plant is running perfectly right now because people are being proactive and they know we have ongoing proactive management. But I think what has happened in the past is that the sewage is coming in, but because of the flow of the rainwater and the infiltration, it's getting mixed up into the whole process, and it's throwing the process off. And so you have to be prepared for that, and you have to look through that, and this consultant and these guys who are experts down there who are running this plant have figured it out, and now it's working. Well, I don't want to jinx it, but it's been no smells, so I don't want to jinx it. But all I could say is sometimes, you know, that cake might not come out perfect, even with all the proactive things we do, but for the most part, I think they've really gotten it. The one last thing, the Wright-Pierce says, much of the higher sewer flow in Narragansett correlates with precipitation and not seasonal tourism. So this is the report that was done that the last council had commissioned, and it was brought to us, and we accepted the report at the beginning of our term. And so this is the report, and they found in their report that it correlates with the events of the rain and the water and not seasonal tourism. There's a lot of data to support this. I'm going to turn it over to Jim because he's the guy who understands it all, and I'm going to let him explain it to you.
Good job, Donna. Very good job. So anyway, we added this actually recently. We've been working on this for a while. And I think it's very important for the public to know exactly what's causing the I&I. The I&I is the inflow and infiltration. This is a map of our town, and it's the soils map of our town. And it's a little bit hard to read, but if you look closely, The red of the town is the soils A category, or the orange of the map. You know, that, although that map is pretty big, it's still hard to read, but it's definitely orange and yellow, pretty much the whole town. So the orange actually represents water, land that, I'm too tall for that, I think. I can bend down a little bit. Yeah? I can't hold both. So, the orange and the brown, the orange and the yellow pretty much take over the whole town, pretty much. There's developed areas like the pier that are light colored, but I don't think they represent the developed areas. So the orange is the water table in the spring lands within, the water table is 18 inches below the ground. So anybody that's lived here for a long time and has dug a hole in their backyard in the springtime realizes we have a high water table. It's a very unusual, we have a very unusual town as far as that's concerned. And then the B, the yellow and the brown, is the next level. But all of those levels, all of those colors, during the spring, the water table is no deeper than 36 inches. So I'm not sure what the percentage is of A versus B, but that's our problem. We have a high water table. We have a neighboring town that used to be part of Narragansett, which is all gravel. I think they got rid of us because we're all high water table. I don't know, but it's a whole different thing when you just go over the town line. It's crazy. So one of the reasons we separated was because of the sewers. And we put in sewers in the pier in the turn of the century, not this century, it was the last century. In 1900, the sewers went into the pier, and that was the only sewers we had in town. Previous to that, everything just went into the ocean, and when the sewers went in, it still went into the ocean, pre-treated, not treated. So the inflow, like Donna said, and the infiltration are our problem, and the soils are the reason for that problem. So if you can imagine the sewers going in during the summer, and they digging a trench to put the pipe in, and then covering it up, and then when it rains in the fall, that trench actually attracts the water table. So now the water just sits along the pipe in that trench. And if those pipes are not properly installed, or if they're too old, or if they're cracked, or if there's roots in them, or whatever, those pipes are acting like a drainage pipe. And that's not what we want. So the next slide we have is a lot of data, a lot of numbers, and select spring storms add about 1.13 million gallons a day of rainwater and groundwater. Now, just so you know, the plant at Scarborough was built as a capacity of 1.4 million gallons per day. So all these numbers, we're not making any of these numbers up. They all come from the town requested Wright Pierce sewer report. If you add the orange, the orange square box is the average sewer flow, so 0.64 million gallons a day. That's not a percentage, that's a number. So if that represents 640,000 gallons per day. Like it's a percentage of the million. So that's with no rain events, because November somehow really doesn't get a lot of rain. If you add up the two blue columns below, during the high rain periods, so you have the groundwater, which is the infiltration from, say, downspouts in some pumps, and you know, just like a hose going into the pipe, that type of water flow. And then you do the inflow of the rain events, you come up with the 1.13 million gallons a day. So that's what's going into our plant when in March and April. So that's like, that makes our plant have, it goes over the capacity actually of the plant at certain times. So it's a real problem. And these are all facts, and this is all science that was figured out. So the actual, just so everybody knows, the actual flow of just sewerage is 0.64, which is 640,000 gallons. But so it's less than half. The flow is less than half of the design flow. This is a pretty picture here. It kind of reminds me of a mountain range, and you know, the top red dotted line is the permitted capacity, 1.5 million gallons per day. These are monthly averages for the people who can't see the little numbers, but that's a 5-year period right there. And I think of the blue is actually the rainwater, the precipitation, but it's like the volcano, you know, pushing up through the mountains. So you can see the peaks and flows and the correlation between the rain and, you know, weather events, maybe snow. And if you notice, most of the heavy precipitation and peaks are during the, you know, the December through January, February. That's when they really get predominantly high. Hopefully I'm explaining this all right. I know it's very confusing, but we tried to do the best with these charts so people could really see, and I'm sure you'll see them in the future. So here we took out the rain, the volcanoes, say, and we just have the mountains. But this chart includes all of the rain events, inflow, infiltration, and it's put on a monthly basis for a 5-year period, and that shows that the capacity of the plant is, I would say, you know, maybe 40% still available on average for whatever, but it's not designed to process just rainwater. And that's one of the biggest problems we have here. So this is page 9, next one's page 10. Again, this is a very colorful chart. It focuses on 25 and 26, so we can actually remember a little bit more clearly, because sometimes you forget about weather events. But we certainly won't forget the summer of 25, or the summer of 25, and the rain event in May, and what it did. And if you see on May the amount of rain, that that was like May 22nd. It was before Memorial Day. It was after, you know, a lot of our winter tourists leave. And that rain event created a mess for us. It was so severe and short-lived that it messed up the ingredients for the cake, like Donna was saying. So it took us a long time to recover from that. And if you look to see how well the efforts have been from the town staff, you'll see the last volcano, which is higher than the May 22nd that caused the problems that caused the stink, is even a higher volcano. So that was just in July, which we all remember, this July, and we have no odor problems as of today in Point Judith, except for maybe the calamari dump. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I think they clean that up. So, and then again, the gray area up top represents the unused capacity of the plant. So this chart, even with the infiltration, the inflow, and the report indicates, and this is the Pierce report, it's not anybody else's report, it's the report that we have, that we paid for, indicates that only 12 instances where the average monthly rate of 1.4 gallons per day was exceeded. So in December 20, there was 4 times in that month that we got more than 7 inches of rain. August 22, there was 2 times that we got, 6 or more inches of rain, and so on. So we're having less, it seems like we're having more events, but less amounts. And that's a good thing. So this is another chart right here that shows a 3-month period, because people talk about the summer and they talk about the reasons for the plant and stuff like that. So the gold is June, the orange is July, and the dark red is August. And actually, the unused facility capacity of the plant is actually increasing, because the average monthly flow is actually going down. Now, I don't have, the town did give us, the town staff did give us the 26 numbers, but they didn't, I don't know, computer-wise, they didn't relate to the Wright Pierce report, so we didn't put them in there. But you can see the dotted line, and it shows the sewer flow trend. And again, that's a good thing. So either it's raining less, or somehow we're taking care of our infiltration better, or inflow. I'm not sure what the reason is for it. It could be lack of, I don't know. Sometimes you just can't imagine it's lack of people in town, because you see a lot of people in town. So maybe it's more day visitors that we see the traffic and stuff than the rental population, because it seems like the rental population is down too. So, the next slide. And this shows the 5-year period again. And it shows the relation to, the flow to the permitted capacity. And it's interesting how it is going down. So, and that's for a 6-year period. And I'm going to give it back to Donna to finish up.
Thank you. So just some takeaway points and just some things that I think, just to recap exactly what our findings were. And I think it was very interesting what our findings were. And so much of the wastewater flow volume is driven by infiltration and inflow and not seasonal tourism, which was stated in the report. And we were able to find the data that supported that statement. And that's what, when they analyzed all the data, that's what they came up with. And so we wanted to show you that the data does support that. Despite the volume created by infiltration and inflow, there's a considerable amount of capacity at the Scarborough plant. And I think that you hear all around, oh my God, we don't have any capacity, we're over capacity. But I think the data shows that everything is going down and that there still is much sufficient capacity. I mean, the plant was built to take into account tourism. It was also built to take in, I guess, Harbor Island and Great Island, and neither one of them are hooked up to the sewer system. So we still have sufficient capacity in our plant. I think, we're dealing with the tactical part of it. We're trying to look at the equipment. We're trying to make sure that we provide the wastewater treatment plant with what they need to be able to do what they need to do. And I just have to commend them for doing such an excellent job for what they've done so far this year. I'm extremely happy. I think under Jim's management, he's made this a priority, and I think that that's really where we want to be. And I think that it's really important that people know that this is a priority and that this council is committed to continuing to look at the waste treatment center and the infrastructure. And I think all that has happened has made us as a town look at our infrastructure and realize how important it is that we do deal with it. I mean, that odor back in May of last year, it was tough, and it was tough for the residents, it was tough for the people who live near the plant, it was hard for the staff, the town manager, and for this council. But we took it and we decided that we wanted to find out, not to just Band-Aid it and figure out how we could just cover it up, but figure out what we can possibly do to try to correct it. I mean, I think we have some options coming down the pike. There's some things that we want, that we're talking to the town about, and the town's talking to us about, and there's some ways that we're going to look to deal with some of this stuff, but it's going to have to be strategically planned out. And so I'm just going to continue. The Westmoreland facility is also highly impacted by infiltration and inflow, and that's being addressed in a partnership with them. That's something that we are working with, and they'll tell you right out that that's one of our problems there, and that's one of the things they want us to look at. And we have high water tables, we have old pipes, we need to figure out how we can deal with that situation. And I think we just have to have more strategic discussions and to see how we're going to do this. And I think it's going to be an entire town. The entire town is going to have to be involved in it. And I think it's something that we've been able to identify. And now, and trust me, I'm sure there's a lot more going on there also. I mean, I never thought I would know as much about wastewater treatment plants. I mean, this was never really one of my top priorities growing up or in my career. But I've learned so much about wastewater treatment plants, and I know this is hard to digest because it took me such a really long time to do so. But I know that there's so much going on there, and I know that they're on top of it, and we're just really grateful for that. But I think this is something that we really need to look at, and we need to continue to work at it. Any closing comments?
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Before you get up here, can you just fix that? You know, you can come up here and we'll discuss with you. I know this was the intention. Thank you, Jim and Donna, for putting this informative presentation together. It's a very dry topic, and there's a lot of information in here, so I highly recommend everyone kind of read through it, digest it, don't flush it. I would just ask John, with a thumbs up or a nod of approval, was the information shared this evening sound and accurate, and were the graphs provided directly from town's resources and studies? If easier to get a microphone, I can do that instead, but.
He didn't have an opportunity to review this, so it'd be like grading a science project. We spoke about that today. John didn't have an opportunity to go through it line by line and evaluate it.
Okay.
But we did provide it to him. So I just want to make it clear that we did provide the information to him, and he did say that he thought it was, the information was from, I don't remember.
Yeah,
the
no,
email.
I saw it.
That's fine.
Somebody
Okay.
included me on the email on the response, and I did see that when I came back. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you. And to also reiterate some of the important key findings that came out of your subcommittee and review, an important piece to call out is that while there's capacity that's been addressed and recognized and available, it's incredibly important for this council and any future council to invest in our infrastructure. This isn't a can that should be kicked down the road to another council or another council after that just because we have capacity or we have a stable infrastructure. This has been in the 20-year plan. To my surprise, I was actually very surprised to learn that the improvements to our sewer and wastewater infrastructure were always in our 20-year plan. And it was just a matter of prioritizing and reprioritizing, which is what we inherited as a council. But we didn't think it was right to have another council have to inherit this same issue. I think it's important that we face this head on. The longer we put it off, the more expensive it gets. That's the reality here, folks, is that the greater the neglect, the more expensive the fix. And I'm happy and supportive of the $337,000 contract that was in May of 2026 to pair equipment replacement with focused management and evidence-based decisions, not waiting for a sewer treatment facility failure to take action. It's a proactive approach. But also, you know, there's talks about creating a brand new facility and the great expenses that would occur with building a whole new facility. These are very real and workable solutions, and I applaud this council and for Councilors McNally and Durkin for bringing this to our attention, because again, there's a lot of information in here, but it's good to know that we're in a good place. I would actually encourage, as an action to come out of this discussion for the town council, is a consideration for a work session with the public, so that the public can come and ask questions, engage in a back and forth dialogue, and then we figure out a plan with the town engineer, maybe the superintendent, we get representation. Maybe it can be a double evening of wastewater, sewer and wastewater, and get maybe, actually no, now I'm biting off. Yeah, water and wastewater, but now I'm biting off more than I can chew because water is a whole nother headache. But thank you for putting this together. Councilor Torriello, did you have any questions for Councilors Durkin and Vignali?
No questions at present, but thank you for taking on the subcommittee. Thank you for the presentation tonight.
Thank you. So I would hope to see a work session scheduled at an upcoming meeting. Since no action or vote will be taken on this, and we will move on to the rest of the agenda. So for the fire department portion of this evening is item E1. Is there a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding and appointment of the fire department's EMS medical director?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those, any comment from the public on this item? Yes. During a future work session, this was just meant to be informative for the council and the council members to discuss and review ongoing issues. If there's any ongoing questions, I encourage you to reach out to us directly via email, but we will have I've encouraged a work session to be scheduled, which would be appropriate for a back-and-forth conversation, questions and answers. For this particular item, E1, is there anyone that has any comments on the EMS director? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. On to the police department. Is there a motion to approve the purchase of 3 new 2026 Dodge Police Utility AWD vehicles from Colonial Municipal Group in the amount of $125,342.40, utilizing the Commonwealth of Massachusetts contract?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
I have a question. Are these patrol cars?
Yes.
Yeah.
These are patrol vehicles.
Oh, and I was just curious, like, I know some of them have white lettering and some of them have black lettering. Are they going to all be white, black, or a mix, or?
I believe these are the black ones, Chief. They're the black with the subdued lettering on them.
Okay, I was just curious. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. On to the Parks and Rec Department. Is there a motion to award the bid for the purchase of toter trash bags for the Parks and Rec and Public Works Departments to the lowest bidder, Central Poly Bag Corps, at the unit cost of $21.77 per case of 64-gallon clear bags and $16.31 per case of 64-gallon black bags for a 1-year period?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
I mean, I hate to be a pain, but I have a question. So when we get these bids in, I'm just curious, Jim, when these come in, are they bidding on the exact same product, or is it, like, do we ever ask the people, like the department, like, are those bags really good, are they sturdy enough, or when bids come in, are they just proposing
There's a spec
their own?
that they certify that they meet. There's a spec that they meet, that they agree that they meet that spec, that wherever the thickness of the bag is or the size of the bag, they have to meet that.
Okay, because I'm just, I was just wondering, like, sometimes if it's lowest bidder, it might not be the same quality, and you take the bag out and it rips, and you have a problem. So I just wanted
Correct.
to make sure that that's been addressed. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Anyone from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. On to item G2. Is there a motion to approve the request to fill the position of a clerk in the Parks and Recreation Department and any subsequent vacancies that may arise from the filling of this position?
So moved.
Discussion? Mr. Tierney, would you mind just clarifying subsequent vacancies? Like, are we expecting a high turnover?
No, when a candidate moves up from within the department, then their position becomes vacant. That way, we don't have to come back to you again for that one position that's being created in this one motion.
And that salary for that person who would come in and fill, that would just be the same as it was before, or would they start from like square one?
It would vary on their longevity.
Thank you. Councilor Torriello, do you have a question?
No.
Okay, sorry, I saw your mic on. Anyone from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. On to the Public Works Department. Is there a motion to approve, ratify, and confirm change order number 7 with Martone Service Company, Inc. for the Town Hall front entrance refurbishment project in the amount of $15,226.89?
Second.
Discussion? Anyone have any questions or comments on this?
Jim, if I'm reading the proposal right, they're saying carpenters, is this 20 hours per 6 carpenters, resulting in 120 hours?
Where are you reading from?
I'm on the change order request itself, just under labor. It says carpenter, 20 times 6 equals 120. I'm assuming that's 20 hours, 6 carpenters?
Yeah, no, I don't. Yes.
Okay. That seems like a lot of hours.
It might be just in totality or for the entire duration of the project.
I mean, given that it's on a change order, I'd take it to mean that it's this part of the, it's an additional 120, not the totality.
Oh, no, I know.
That's how I'm reading it, at least.
Was your question answered?
Yeah.
From Tierney? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else on the council? Anyone from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes 3-1. On to item I-1 from Community Development. Is there a motion to approve a contract with Deprete Engineering to provide design and engineering services for the creation of the town council-approved bike path from the community center to Kingstown Road and Caswell Street in the amount of $153,500.00?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. It's this map that's before us. It's rather thick. The line is rather thick. So I'm having a hard time understanding exactly where it's coming out to. I thought, and I may be wrong, but I thought when it left the community center and we were going through the park that we were going to end up near the Indian somewhere and then cross over to go over. I thought we talked about putting a kiosk there. That's the Indian right there? Okay, all right. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. So it's coming this way and then across. All right, perfect, thank you.
And I have a question, Jim. You know that little, when we were in your office and we were talking about is that something that we'll talk about?
When we sit with Deprete, this line is basically, it was
Right.
driven on the map.
Right.
Written on the map based on the town council's approval and the emails back and forth to verify it. It will be more fine-tuned when Deprete takes a look at it. But yes, pushing that forward is, I'll bring that to their attention as well.
Yeah, just so the council, I think, is clear. What I'm saying is that creek that goes through that park, you know, I wanted to make sure that they actually, I know it was expensive to go through the back end of that park, but it gets narrower as the outflow from the street goes into that creek, and I was thinking it'd be nice to be able to go over that creek in at the shortest distance instead of,
He said, this is a general drawing.
yeah.
It's a
No, I get
possibility,
it.
there's a possibility that a good portion of this won't even work.
I get it.
Okay.
You know, just want to make sure that the next time it comes up, I'm still here.
So my questions come from, with the possibility that there might be some of this proposed route that doesn't work, what would happen in that situation? And just so that we're managing expectations from the town side and as well as our own, I understand that this is a contract for, design, engineering services. What can we expect to see from a reporting side? Are they going to provide us with a full report for the full, complete design? And at that time, does it get presented to the town before it gets presented to the state? Just trying to,
Yeah, when they're going to go back and forth with us through the whole thing, and we'll do updates with you. They may find wetland areas that we can't, navigate through. They'll bring that to our attention. They may say, what do you want to do next? It goes back and forth during the whole process, and we'd go to the council and public, we'd let you know what was going on.
okay.
Wouldn't go to the state until it was completed and approved, because the council would, because the construction funding would be coming from the STIP.
So the route's been approved, but then again, the council would have to approve the final design before it gets presented to the state.
Yeah, the town council approved route, the route the council wants is pointed there. Dupree will determine whether that's possible and how it's possible.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep. And do you have an approximate timeline as to, I know everyone's got different things going on, but just so that we can manage expectations, approximately how long it would take to put this report together?
I do not.
Okay. Maybe that's something that we can possibly follow up on just separately offline, just to figure out.
I usually do that once it's awarded. I ask that question. It's now been
Thank you.
awarded. How long will it take?
Thank you.
Would they provide an alternate route if they find that Kingstown Road is not feasible?
I think they will. They did it in the past on others, so they modify the route. They may move it around a little bit, but again, I'll keep you posted on any changes they make.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Jim? Anyone from the public? Yes. Oop. There you go.
Thank you. I'm Tara Flaherty, 59 Canachet Way. I kind of had the same reaction that the town council had. I agree with the town council stated tonight that the route approved, the language and the verbiage is correct, but I disagree with the map placing the route, it's very hard to say, south or on the ocean side of Sprague on the Indian side. The park has the route going very northeast, all the way to the head of Wanda, to Strathmore, and then back to Kingston at the Indian. I'm curious, where did that come from? Because it's on Dupree's map, and it's on the town's map, that it crosses the creek at Kingston, goes all the way northeast to the head of Wanda, and then back to the Indian. None of that makes sense visually, functionally, and I'm curious how that came, because I'm fine with the language, but I object to the two maps.
Any other comment while we look at this?
Not at all, and it is very confusing, but I just am pointing out that the verbiage and the maps, how did we get from A to B? They don't line up, and I'm wondering who was, given that task and how it came to be that we're going to take that route, cross green space that we have very precious little green space left, and rip it through the park to the head of Wanda. It functionally doesn't make sense. And I don't want Dupree, which is in their contract says, this is what the town council is giving us. I don't want them to think this is what we wanted, because the one thing that we agreed upon is this verbiage, not this map.
Thank you.
Okay. But
Well,
can we
yeah,
look at this before it gets approved, or?
Yep, we'll be
Okay.
able to respond to that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add before we answer questions? Yep. Oops.
Denise Manzi, 49 Canachet Way. I would just like to piggyback what Tara just touched upon. I know from personal experience, the section on the map that is being presented, the very short section of the bike path that is being drawn on Strathmore, that is the narrowest part of that road that extends all the way to the museum. I myself have had a couple of close calls. Just a few days ago, there was a family coming into the neighborhood on bikes. They were entering from Kingston. They took a left at the Indian, and they were on Strathmore. Mom, dad, set of grandparents, and a small boy, possibly 8, 7 years old. The parents and the grandparents were hugging the fence. There was another vehicle ahead of me. I was about 20, 30 feet behind that vehicle, and I was only doing 15 miles an hour. And that limit there, I believe, is 25. Well, the young boy decided he was not going to stay in the path between parents and grandparents, and he decided to turn 90 degrees and was placing himself between myself and the car ahead of me. I did have to slam on my brakes. I was still nowhere near him, but again, that is not the first time that I have personally experienced that. I will not be able to live with myself if I hurt someone. So I am begging you to please take another look at that before we spend money on this plan. Let's please change that section. If we're going to the Indian, then let's cut across Kingston, please. We don't want anybody getting hurt.
Sorry, can you just specify where specifically on Kingston?
Do you have a map that you can place up here?
I have a map. You don't have access. Oh, you do? Oh, can you just pull that up, please?
It's right
It
along the
just-
fence.
Yeah. Yeah, he's working on it. Because it's hard to tell, because it does come across. Oh, I
And-
see what you're saying.
And in your defense, you're not driving that road every day like we are, so you wouldn't have knowledge of this, but. So, right here, this is what we knew the plan was back in September, October, whenever it was.
Mhm.
We were coming around and through the park. But when you get here, we thought we were going to come straight to the intersection, but this piece right here, from here to here, I don't know if you folks can see what I'm pointing to. From here to here is the narrowest part of Strathmore. And in my opinion, as well as many of my neighbors, that is the most dangerous part of this proposed path. Now, while I'm up here and I have your attention, we, a while ago, had suggested, and it would save this town a lot of money, and anybody here can disagree with me. We already have a paved area right here. There's a nice fence. We can open that. We can come across right here. Oh, thank you. I probably didn't need that, but thank you. So there is a very nice area, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Mr. and Mrs. Smith at one point had proposed that. Am I correct? And that was that was a great idea. So we would love to see it come here, and then one of my neighbors, Don Frederick, has even suggested that we can put in for a grant for a crossing, much like we have further back. The name of the street is it Avice that crosses? And I think that would be much safer for everybody. We don't need to worry about children on tricycles. They're not going to be on the bike path. They'll be riding around the school parking lot or their neighborhoods. But, okay, I'm sorry. I've taken enough time, but
No,
that's the teacher in me.
No, I appreciate the illustrative reference.
Did you have any other questions?
No, I appreciate that. And unfortunately, the there was a discussion on a general proposed path. I do agree with you, so like some of the propositions that you've brought up, you know, we've had at great length discussion and debate. Unfortunately, that part of the path was not part of the proposal, but I do agree with your assessment on the section that you highlighted, going around and cutting through that green space.
And I
That's
understand
not
that.
that's not the impression that I was given either. I didn't vote on this path in general, but I just want to make sure that when it is being proposed, that it's an accurate map that we're voting on. So, but I know that we've gone way over 3 minutes. So, but I do appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Like I said, I had the
taking
mic
time.
and you weren't stopping me, so thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have comments?
I do.
Yes. Sorry. I forget who speaks, and you're good. Thank you.
Ann Newquist, 46 Canonchit Way. And I do agree with my two previous neighbors on their points, particularly with that intersection. I just wanted to add that I'm hearing a lot of talk about the possibility of going through with this design, spending $153,000, but at the end of the day, people are thinking, oh, the bike path is just going to end at the Indian, wherever that is, and not continuing down Kingstown Road. I went, and I hope you won't be offended, I went to the meet and greet of some of the candidates for town council, and I would say 2/3 of them talked about just ending the bike path at the Indian. And so I just hope that there's real intention behind a path that actually makes its way to, hopefully, the other bike path, which is what RIDOT, I believe, is going to want to approve, is to see a connection. And so I encourage us to continue on what was voted on, like you said. A subcommittee worked on that, and I hope that we explore the Kingstown route. I personally actually think that the route going through Sprague Park is the more contentious one, not only that end that we've been discussing, but going behind the batting cages. I don't know how you're going to fit a 10-foot wide path behind there without landfill, and then you're going to have to get an approval from the DEM and CRMC, excuse me. So it seems like a very difficult path to me. I just walked it with my husband on Saturday, very busy too, lots of baseball league parking. So I actually agree with the Smith's paths that goes along the tennis court, which seems to make a lot more sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me think. Okay. Anyone else? All right. To respond, I agree. I think it's and
Can I say something, Alex? Or
oh yeah.
wanna...
Can I just say?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I just was gonna say that I'm shocked actually to hear that anyone's even talking about ending the bike path at the Indian. That's never been any discussion at a town council meeting, especially not one that's been proposed by this council. 100% believe that in the spirit of completing the bike path, I agree that we need to get it as close and to the actual state's bike route. That's why I wanted it originally to end at the beach, but that was a different proposal. But this is a good start towards getting this bike path over the finish line. Mr. Durkin, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just remember the night that we talked about it, and obviously it wasn't unanimous, but we did vote on the going behind the batting cages for the same reason that that lady just said, that it's a busy area, because if you went on the other side of the batting cage, you should be going through valuable parking spots for the families and stuff. I think when it all got started, the bike path route, the batting cages weren't there. But from the plan I saw, the wetland was far enough away. There might be some grading that has to be done, but it was possible to get done. And then we said that we wanted it to go across the wetland if possible. And since then, I've talked to different people and it's almost impossible to do that. So I had mentioned in my motion that night to make it the bridge, if possible, as close to the outflow of that pipe from Kingstown Road as close as possible, just so you got that nice effect of going across the water, but it wasn't $10 million, you know? And then continuing to the Indian. I mean, I remember that, and I know we're going to have to talk to our Native American people that, but I do picture in my mind some type of a kiosk in that area, a sitting area, a rest area, a waiting area to cross over Kingstown Road. So when this little map came out, I really didn't understand it, because who wants so many squiggles, you know? So thanks for bringing that up. And I think that's what I actually brought up with Jim, and Jim says we don't have to deal with that tonight, but I'm actually sure that Jim knows kind of what our thoughts are, and thank you for bringing it up. And I actually think that this orange line actually passes by the intersection of Caswell and Kingstown, but that might be good in a way. But I also wanted to bring up that since we are negotiating with the old library to make them people aware, whoever we pick, that we would like to kind of coordinate that into their landscape design, that corner there. So it could be a resting spot or a meeting spot or whatever.
So I just want to say that I know we debated in that committee group, if I'm correct, that we talked about coming out where she just did the alternate plan, and I think we did talk about, I think Jim's right, we talked about the parking situation and not being able to take those parking spaces. But I also agree with Tara. I was under the impression that it was going to run across right down the side of the park. I didn't expect to see that hump either. So I agree with Tara. I was surprised. I just thought it was because the line was so thick that you know, the smaller line would bring it a little closer, but I think that that's something we should look at and talk about when we send it to Dupree.
So is your proposal to continue this, to revise the map before it gets sent? That's what I would propose. I think part of what was a struggle about this getting approved the first time was we didn't have a map. But I know that we had to provide a lot of direction in order for a map to be created. I just don't think that this is an accurate map based on, it's mostly accurate. I just don't think it's 100%
I agree with you.
a reflection of what the majority on the council had agreed to. Right, so with that, I think some greater clarity is needed, and one map to be determined. And I mean, again, it's been shared, $153,000 on a design. We want to make sure that our map is sound, that there's one map that's being considered in the design. So I just ask that we continue this to the next meeting. Ideally, if we can get this figured out.
The route is clearly defined in the scope and what was approved by the council. The map is just a rough draft. That's all it is. That's not an engineered, designed map. It's just a rough draft of what was approved in the council agenda, just to let you know.
So who drew the yellow line, Jim? Okay. So can we just draw it along the Kingstown Road to the Indian and then just not even have another meeting? Is it possible?
I guess you could probably amend it if you want to right now in this
that would
meeting.
be good, yeah.
But I have to really know exactly what it is. Perhaps I could bring one up to you with a Sharpie marker?
I drew it.
No, that's a squiggle line, Jim.
All right, I can,
Would you mind one of, I don't want to have you get up, but
Yeah, I'll
to
get up.
get up there and indicate where it is that you would like it amended to.
I disagree with the map in so much as it goes down Kingstown Road, which I believe is a dangerous route, and we should not be approving this as such.
I'm sorry, and what was the last thing you said?
I disagree with the map insofar as it goes down Kingstown Road,
Yeah.
which I believe to be a dangerous route, and we shouldn't approve it.
Okay.
And
Jim.
The route I believe we voted on was, when it came to this point right here,
Yeah.
I think we wanted it to go down to the Indian from there. Yeah, so we wanted it to go this way.
Okay.
I think that's exactly what I thought it was going to do.
And then
Okay.
if it doesn't work, then we have to whatever, but that was.
Yes, and that's what would be provided, yep. Oh. Yep, okay, thank you. So we'll make sure that a correct version, we want one version of a map to be presented for consideration.
No, I didn't see that.
Thank you. So with that, we will amend the version for consideration. While I agree, I don't agree on the proposed path, I believe the council made it clear what the majority on the council wants to see in the proposed route, so I am not going to hold up the design portion with the now amended version. I do know that there are other maps that have already undergone extensive studies and design. But now with your amended route to go down across Kingstown Road in front of the Indian,
Yeah, you want me to make an amendment, or?
I think, Mr. Lebec,
Make a motion to amend the map.
do we need to make how do you do that? Do we just vote on the new proposed map, or do we just,
Just to be clear,
yeah,
the survey figure that is utilized in the Deprete response, is that one accurate? Is that the one you're referring to? Not this one, but the Deprete map one is.
Yeah.
Okay, because of the Deprete one clearly, actually, both of them clearly go by the Indian statue. Okay.
So I make a motion to amend the map prior to sending it to Dupree? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, but we need to give the language, so
Okay.
it would be, so once it reaches the so-called creek, that it would go along Kingstown Road to the Indian area, and then they're going to develop some kind of crossing area there, and not go to the north after either crossing the creek or going around the creek,
And that the path continue down,
along Kingstown Road. to the
right,
Indian.
to where it is mapped out. And it's not to stop, it's to continue.
Correct.
This council, okay.
Yeah. Oh, and then and then obviously to continue to Caswell. Yeah. Yeah.
You can't talk from there, the public has to be able to hear you.
we're in the middle of amending a motion, so it's,
Mr. President, if I can chime in, there's
Yeah.
no agenda item for amending a map on the agenda for this evening. This is merely to approve an engineering. You can direct staff to make those changes and vote on a different map later, but the item is not listed as voting on a map amendment.
Okay, so the actual route itself is not being determined at this juncture. We're just voting on the actual design services.
That's
And
correct.
then we can influence the final decision later on. Okay, well, that's nice, thank you. And with that, I guess more to come with that. So thank you for that clarity. So this is for the design services. This is not for the actual final route. Feedback will be able to be provided from the council and the public as well. Okay. With that, any last questions from the council? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes 3-1. On to the engineering department. Is there a motion to approve the purchase of the one new 2026 Chevrolet 2500 regular cab work truck from Colonial Municipal Group in the amount of $48,893.20, utilizing the Greater Boston Police Council contract, and approve the purchase of one Knapheide service body Model 696 equipment package from Dejana Truck and Utility Equipment, a division of Douglas Dynamics LLC, in the amount of $24,980.00, utilizing the Rhode Island Master Pricing Agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Any questions or comments from the council on this item? Anyone from the public? Whoa, that cleared out quick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. On to the IT department. Is there a motion to award the bid for electronic security system upgrade to Convergent Technologies LLC in the amount of $71,090.00?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Anyone from the council have any questions or comments on this? Anyone from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. On to the town clerk. Is there a motion to approve an application for a special event permit and waive the fee associated for Narragansett Parks and Recreation for the annual Endless Summer event, which includes the annual Calamari Festival that is being held on Saturday, September 19th, 2026 at Veterans Memorial Park and Gazebo Park, subject to state and local regulations?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Is there any calamari left? I hope there's still going to be enough calamari after the event that we just had.
Hey, Galilee is the #1 exporter of calamari on the entire eastern seaboard. I have it on pretty good authority, they will.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Torrealde. That's a really nice shout out.
Also,
and
I should
great.
have said this earlier, but there is a big sand octopus squid down in Galilee over by Jimmy's port side, I think it is. Go check it out. That was put up by the Galilee Advisory Committee.
Oh, is there a sculptor on the Galilee Advisory Committee?
Not a sculptor on the committee, but we
Oh.
did bring somebody in.
Awesome.
And the port director actually wants a big bronze octopus, calamari, squid statue
Well,
down at the port.
maybe we can put it at the former lighthouse end. No, just kidding. Excellent. Any questions or comments on this? And this is a fantastic event. We went to it last year. Amazing. And there's a number of vendors that have also chimed in and want to volunteer to and join this as well. With that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Oops, motion passes 4-0. Now we have a disclosure of executive session vote taken on July 6, 2026. During that executive session was a motion to approve the town manager's contract with the following terms: 3-year contract, 2-week vacation, language was updated. There was some salary changes, 3% increase annual for years 2 and 3, and 1 additional week vacation. And again, on behalf of the Narragansett Town Council, we commend and appreciate Jim Tierney's service to the town of Narragansett. It's certainly not an easy job. It's a thankless job in many ways, but your continuity and your leadership in this town do not go unnoticed, and we really appreciate your service to this town.
Thank you.
So, thank you. And with that, is there a motion to approve at 9:02 p.m.?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Have a great night.